This is episode 84, and I have no idea what we're doing.
Welcome to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Ultimate Deck Podcast. Helping you keep your finger firmly pressed on the decking industry, the people in it, and the information you need to master the backyard. And now, host of the Ultimate Deck Podcast, Shane Chapman.
I'm here, and so is Wade, and that was his first intro ever.
That was pretty
solid, actually.
It wasn't that shaky. I was a lot more nervous than I sounded.
Yeah, 84 episodes in before we let you have the reins, and... Well,
no, I didn't have the reins.
You don't know what we're doing
I have no
today
idea
yet.
what we're doing.
Is this just the best when you start down the path of something without a plan and just see where it takes you?
I was talking to
I've got the plan.
Sean from the Rusty Shovel yesterday, and I asked him if he was expanding to Saskatoon. I was like, are you going to open a store in Saskatoon? And then him and I had some banter back and forth about us opening a store in Saskatoon. He was like, absolutely not. I am much more calculated. I'll be planning that. And I was like, you'll be planning for so long that it'll be over. Somebody else will have your job there and you'll be done.
Yep.
And he was like, yeah, but I want to know that it's going to work. And I just laughed. I was like,
how is he even an entrepreneur in the first place?
I know. He's like, he's not an entrepreneur. He's an accountant. Yeah. Stuck owning a business. So anyways, there was some pretty witty banter back and forth about, do you think we should open in Saskatoon? Boom, rented a building. We're opening yeah, let's do this. Here we go. So
well, we thought about it for a lot of years before we actually pulled the trigger. It's just that at some point you need to shit or get off the pot.
Yep.
And that's what we did. And it sounds like he'd prefer to shit on the pot.
Yeah. No. Where would he be? On the pot or off the pot?
Well, he shits and stays in the pot. It's weird.
Well, maybe his feed's better than ours.
Well, maybe.
I have to get off the pot. My legs go to sleep.
I don't know. Anyway, you know what we got? It's not time for Simcoe News.
Nope.
New segment.
It's
time for the Worldly News. I still haven't come up with a name for it, so that's what we got for
Worldly
now.
News.
That was the wrong button.
That's right, though. That is a good one. Yeah, subliminally, that's perfect.
That was for Simcoe News.
See you, Bryce. Have a great weekend, buddy. Thanks for coming in.
There's what we need. Okay, so from around the world, the headlines of news on this June 27th.
I think it's the 7th today, 27th today.
June 27th. Around the world, we're from Texas again. I think we had a headline from Texas last week. Happened in place.
And there's a lot of people there, that's for sure.
A lot of weird shit going on there, I'll tell you that much. Yeah. So, from Texas, the customs agents on the Texas-Mexico border did an inspection on a guy coming through, 23-year-old man coming through from Mexico. They decided to search his truck. I don't know why, but what they found in the console of his F-150 was an endangered spider monkey. And so this guy...
In the console of his truck.
In the console of his truck.
They'll never
would keep your gum.
Yeah, they'll never look here.
He was keeping a spider monkey.
Yeah, it's no good.
I mean, they took it from him.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to have that.
Yeah.
At all, let alone try to bring it into the United States from Mexico.
Was the air conditioning on in his vehicle?
I doubt it. There's no vents in the console of your whatever.
You watched the Tiger King, right?
I did. I don't know that I watched all of it, but
did you watch some of the early episodes where they showed those Siberian tigers in Texas heat or Louisiana heat? It was in vans and stuff.
Yeah.
110 and there's a white tiger supposed to be crawling around in the mountains and snow, and it's
yeah. He's in there while his parents are in McDonald's getting a Big Mac.
Yep.
Without the windows rolled down.
Awful.
So anyways, this guy gets his monkey taken away. Rough day for him. Have you ever had any border trouble?
I personally haven't.
Okay.
But JJ did. We got in trouble.
Oh, well, let's hear.
So we went to Waterton on a hiking trip. And
it's in Canada, so I'm curious as to where this is going.
The national park actually crosses over into the U.S. at one point. And so
turns into Glacier National, I think.
That's right. So we took the dog. We had Max, and we went for a hike, and we're hiking along. And then I see this line. There's the U.S.-Canada border, and it was no pets allowed. I was well, we're probably not going to see anybody. We won't get in trouble. Let's just finish this hike into the U.S., and then we'll turn around. And
so you're allowed to. You're allowed to, as a part of the hike, you're allowed to go over the border.
Correct.
It's part of it.
Yep.
Okay. But just not dogs.
If you have your passport.
Okay.
And you're not allowed to have dogs in national parks.
Okay.
In the U.S.
At all?
Nope. not
You
at all.
can't ever have a dog in a national park.
Can't take your
state-
pets in the
United
national
States.
park. That's what they say.
What kind of fascist bullshit is that?
I don't know. It seems to make some sense, right? Because it's like bear attacks and elk attacks are a little bit higher when
makes
dogs
sense.
are present, right? So anyways, we're walking and it was clearly marked. There were absolutely signs that you were not supposed to proceed with your dog and you're not supposed to proceed without your passport. But I was like, come on, like how bad can this be? We did not get a ticket. We did not get a fine, but we were promptly escorted out. So what happens is we finish the hike. We end up in this like area, picnic area. There's a bunch of tables and there were some U.S. border guards there. And they were like, where are your passports? We don't have any passports. Why are you in here with a dog? Well, we were just out on a hike and we thought we'd come here and have lunch and then turn around and walk back. And they were like, you can't just cross into the border without a passport or with a dog. You're not allowed to have your dog. Did you not see the signs? I was like, yeah, I saw the signs, but I didn't know that you really meant that. We meant that. So they put us on a boat and they ferried us from the edge of the U.S. Glacier National Park back to Waterton. So we got deported. We got deported. We had to pay the $20 fee to take the ferry back, but we didn't get put in jail and they didn't take our dog.
So how is that JJ story and you aren't involved? Like I said, have you ever had any border issues? You said not me, but JJ has. But you were there with her.
Yeah, I was. I didn't feel like I was the one who got deported because I wasn't the one who was fighting with the border guards. Like when we showed up, they were like,
"Oh, she went full ginger on them."
She was trying.
Smart.
She was fighting, and I was like, "Don't just shut up. Get on the boat. We'll get out of here."
Yeah.
I don't need this on our file, right? So I was going to promptly leave and not get into trouble. But
I got my dad on the file when I was younger. We used to do camping trips down into the North Dakota every year. Quite a few times we had a camping spot down there outside of Minot that we really liked, or my parents really liked. And fireworks legal in the States, not legal in Canada. Can't do those.
Yeah.
But at least back then, now you can get them at gas stations everywhere, but you weren't allowed to back then. And so my friends knew that I went down to camping there all the time, and we'd always go down on July 4th and camp from, Canada Day. Half that park was full of Canadians. So it was like a big July 1st Canada Day and then July 4th Independence Day. That whole week there, park's like 3/4 Canadians and there's big celebrations. There's a bar there and it's a good time. Well, I mean, for adults, I assume I was 13 years old at the time, whatever.
Wasn't sneaking booze yet.
But my friends thought like, you should bring back some fireworks. And I was like, yeah, buddy, let's go. And so they paid me, they gave me some money and I went down and I bought some fireworks and I promptly hid those in my pillow in the camper. And I was like, those are coming back with me. And turns out that's probably the first place the border guards look with kids.
Kids' pillows.
In their pillowcase, in their bed. That's where dumb kids put shit. So I've never been so nervous in my life. We're crossing the border and I don't know why, but they decided to inspect my dad's, probably because they could see me sweating bullets in the back seat. Going through the border security and I'm in the back seat just clamming up and like, oh, and can we take a look in your camper? And my dad's like, yep, sure. He's got nothing to hide.
Yeah. He's not smuggling fireworks.
I'm like losing it here at this point. All of a sudden they come back. My dad's like, get out of the truck. Oh boy.
Nope. No thanks.
I wasn't in the camper when they found them, but apparently it was like a straight in there, kind of look around, pat pillow, hear the like crinkly paper that the firecrackers are in.
Yeah.
Look in there, fireworks, boom. Inside, interrogation, dad's on the smuggler's list for 7 years. Not happy.
For real?
Yeah.
Every time he comes through the border.
Yep.
It's
hassled for a while. And like we lived close to the border. We were living in Estevan. We were less than an hour from, like we're 20 minutes from the border, right? Made trips down there all the time.
Oh man,
he wasn't too happy. He's like, they could have confiscated our truck and they could have just took our camper and truck, no questions asked. Anyways, I don't remember what kind of heat I took for that. I don't remember like what the grounding was, but
yeah,
I haven't done it since.
The beating was so bad, I don't remember it all.
It's not they don't remember the grounding. I don't remember anything after the clunk.
Yeah.
So next up, man in Wisconsin receives a postcard in the mail, and he's like, "Oh, this is nice. It's from my parents. It's from Mount Rushmore. They've sent me a postcard from Mount Rushmore." Starts reading it. He's like, "This is kind of weird." It's like tattered and worn. Looks at the date, 2004.
Whoa.
Postcard was out in the United States Postal Service for 16 years before it landed on his doorstep, and nobody knows where it was in between.
I feel like we have some deliveries we shipped into the US this year that might be just like that.
That's why I included this one. I was like, this is very topical right now. There's stuff that just like, when's my stuff going to be here? Who knows?
We have 2 orders that are just lost, right? 1 order?
I don't know.
I feel like we have 2 orders
Shipping
right now
anything right now is tricky.
Yeah, we shipped them down to the States and people are like, do you have any update on this? And it's like, it's just all we got for an update is it says it's in this warehouse.
Yeah.
That's what UPS gives us. And so
that's what you get.
That's crappy.
Yeah. So
16 years. So what's in the letter? Do we know?
I didn't get into too many specifics. He just started reading it and was like, this sounds weird. Because his initial thought was his parents were just there recently. He thought this postcard was from,
I see.
Because they go every year, apparently.
Right. Yeah.
But then he looks a little closer and it's dated 2004. Anyway.
Little time capsule.
The 5th one, this one's really good. I don't know if Bruce, is there any Australians in this chat here right now? I don't know. On Instagram here.
Only 4.
2 guys show up at a guy's house with machetes and a broom.
Okay.
They burst into the door. They grab this man who I think was sleeping, but maybe not. Doesn't matter. Wasn't expecting 2 guys with a machete to burst into his house regardless. They tie him up down to his underwear, tie him up, and tickle the shit out of him with a broom. They were hired by a guy with a sexual fantasy to do exactly what they did. Got the wrong address.
Oh my God.
Wrong address. Burst into some guy's home they don't know, that's not expecting machetes and a broom. Tie this poor son of a bitch up. Tickle him with a broom. He's like losing it. They think it's part of the gig. This guy's fantasy to be like, no, I want to be tied up. No, don't tie me up. And they're like, yeah, but here you go. They give it to this guy. I don't know how it ends. I don't want to know how it ends. Cops get called, whatever. These guys get arrested. Then they find out this is all charges dropped. All a big misunderstanding. Dude who hired him. Somehow they got the wrong address.
Oh,
and they tied up and tickled a man that wasn't expecting it.
Wrong address. We talked about this earlier this week. One of our biggest fears.
We did. We talked about this because through our managed install service, sometimes you're hiring contractors to go tear out somebody's deck. And we always go like, can you imagine if you gave somebody the wrong address and they showed up and ripped somebody's deck off their house?
Oh, and you get some of those neighborhoods that are like Green Apple, Green Brook, Greenway, Green Bank. And it's like
Green Apple Drive meets Green Apple Road.
Yeah.
It's like DR versus RD. It's like, boom,
boy.
Deck's gone. Come home and your deck's been stolen.
Yep. That'd be a bad one. Anyways.
Pleasant surprise.
To date, we haven't ripped the deck off the wrong house, but we have delivered some materials to the wrong address.
Yeah, not nearly as damaging to do that. You can fix that a lot easier.
Yep.
Anyway, today's topic is this is a contractor focused episode if I've ever seen one. We're going to give you 30 tips, 30 things to do to really lay impressions on your customers. 30 things you can do that'll impress the boots off your customers.
Do they require money?
Go above and beyond. Some will, some won't.
Some do, some don't.
No, a lot, even the ones that do wouldn't require a lot of money.
There's some things that I've seen. They're just like a top 5, like 5 things you can do that don't cost any money to like improve people's opinion of you, right? And
probably
so
the
some
first,
of these are gonna...
we can get 5 out of here that for sure that don't. You don't have to do all these.
Yeah.
But as I ran through and made this list, I'm sitting there thinking like, yep, we should do these things. Yep.
I don't think that you and I ever struggle with knowing what we should do.
The ideas aren't the problem.
Nope.
It's the execution.
Execution's hard.
And so I put this list together in 5 minutes and come up with 30 things that you can do to really kind of impress your customers. And as I'm doing it, I was like, yeah, I know we should be doing this too. We should be doing that one too.
Yep.
And so anyways, we're not claiming to be perfect here. We're not doing these things ourselves.
We're just stating the obvious.
And
Here we go.
Things, like we're a dealer, right? We don't have the opportunity to do a lot of these things. We're not going to people's homes and whatever else. So like this is a contractor focused list, 30 things. Let's go.
Yep.
I've ordered these also in kind of like the time sequence as to like
start of the job
to the end of the job. I reordered them that way, so
that's a good order.
So here we go. And if anybody in the Instagram live that's on here has anything they want to throw in, certainly do so. This list could probably be 100 long if we actually put a few binds together, but this is the first 30 that came to my mind. So number 1 is to have a good website and social media presence. And that's the first one because that's the first thing many people are going to see about you before you ever talk to them, before they ever call you even.
It was funny when we first started the store, I had people asking us what our website looked like. And at the time, it wasn't like we didn't have a lot of effort. there was a lot of effort put into it, but it wasn't elaborate, right? It was just like you could basically find us and who we were and some pictures.
Yeah.
And then it started to build. But the one guy, I remember this, he was from a marketing group that I talked to, is a friend of mine, and he said, if I look up a company and they don't have a website, I don't shop with them. That's just it. Like if I can't find you on the internet, it's over. You
don't exist.
You don't exist. Whether you are the best or not the best, I need to know that you're at least accountable on the internet, that I can find you.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, it's a big first step to earning the phone call in the first place.
Yeah.
And nowadays, maybe a website is becoming less and less important, the website itself. I'm not saying you shouldn't be on the internet, but social media is also taking over a little bit. Maybe you don't necessarily need the website, but you better have a Facebook page or an Instagram page or somewhere that people can find you. But I do still think the website is still a necessity as well. It should be all of these things, not any one of them.
Yeah, you can get some good like website leads, like just inquiry leads, right? People filling out questionnaires, even just a simple, hey, you want to build a deck for me?
Just showing up, because people are going to Google it regardless. When they want to find a deck builder in Denver, they're going to search for a deck builder in Denver.
Yep.
And so your Facebook page may show up, your Instagram page may show up, but your website would also probably show up. And a business listing, if you've got,
Yep.
So it's important to have those things
Have a website
there and ready for people. And plus the social presence has the ability to break down some barriers before you ever meet a person. If they have a chance to kind of watch how you work, who you are, learn a little bit about you, you've kind of built some rapport before you've ever even met them.
Yep.
And that can happen on your Instagram page or whatever.
They've been creeping you for a while.
Right. Because we've had, like in my past under Fresh Decks, I would have people that hired me basically from Instagram. It was like they already knew they wanted to work with me.
Yep.
And it was, whether, I don't know why, but it was just like they saw how I built things or who we were or whatever it was. It was just like, I want to work with you. And it's like, they haven't even got any of the quotes. They've been watching for a year.
You don't even know me. Well, I feel like I know you.
But they can learn more about you following along over a year than they could in the 45 minutes at their house anyway.
Yep.
So
certainly
get that out of the way. Number 2 is once you get that phone call and you've booked that on-site estimate, be on time, because you're like other people are relying on you. They got stuff to do. They expect you to be there on time. It's a pretty common, what am I trying to say? Contractors have a bad rap for not being on time. People are expecting, like, they book a contractor, come, it's like, yeah, he's probably not going to show up in time. So if you don't, you've done nothing to set yourself apart. You're just another crappy contractor.
Yep.
Who doesn't respect that person's time. So if you say you're going to be there at 7, be there at 7. And if you're going to be late, just give them a phone call and let them know you're going to be a little bit late. Probably not a big deal. But they're already expecting you to kind of screw this up. So if you validate that for them, it's like, yeah, well, next.
Yep.
The guy that shows up on time got a leg up on you already. Number 3, take your shoes off. So I always did this, and I don't know that, and the only reason I say this, I don't know how many guys do and don't, but I know that I've had contractors come to my house and not take their shoes off.
Yep.
It's like the electrician needs to come in. He's like, boom, 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 straight down to the basement. Like, that's like, I don't really get that worked up about it, but I think it would go a long way if you did, because some people probably wouldn't want you tracking your shoes through their house like that.
Yep.
So I always, when I was doing contract work, this first thing I did was I walked in the door, took my shoes off, and many, many people would say, oh, don't worry about taking your shoes off. Just come back through here.
Yeah, but at that point, then you're good. They've told you to not.
Yeah, then you could.
Start the
I
gesture.
still do, though.
I always took mine off, too.
I always took mine off, carried them to the back door, put them back on.
Yep.
Because, they say don't worry about it, but maybe I just stepped in dog shit 14 minutes earlier.
Because I was in somebody else's backyard.
Yeah. And then they're like, yeah, don't worry about it until it's smudged.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shit
yeah, maybe
everywhere.
worry about it now.
Yeah.
So it's just a sign of respect. Number 4, pet the dog. These first few were kind of like things that I was conscious of when I used to visit homes. If there was a dog there, I was petting that dog. This wasn't for the customers, this is for me. I love dogs. But what I mean by this is, and the number 5 is engage with the kids. And so the point of this one here is to start integrating with their family.
Yeah, build some rapport.
Engaging with the family.
Yep.
Because if you have somebody who you feel like fits in with your family and your life, you're much more likely to hire that person.
Yeah, they're not going to they're not in your space. They're now kind of part of your space.
Right.
Hey, Shane's here again. Hey, Billy.
Yeah.
Billy, Shane's here. Go look your buddy. He's out there building a deck again.
If the kid gets all pumped up and the dog's happy to see you, it's like, we immediately, the guard comes down. It's like, we feel welcome with him being in my house.
Yeah.
As opposed to somebody walking in and be like, get your dog off me. I don't want to touch the dog. Your kids are annoying. Like, you don't.
Yep.
If you're being too abrasive, they're not going to want you around longer. It's like, yeah, please see yourself to the door and don't come back.
Yep, exactly.
Number 6, dress to impress. And so this is a pretty easy one for people to miss because you're typically, a lot of guys are out there working and building all day and they do their visits in the evening and it's like they're not going home to change and shower first. So they may be showing up
dirty,
covered in crap. Maybe they were pouring concrete piles that day and they're covered in it. Or they were walking around a muddy backyard building a deck all day and they're covered in it. And so some people are going to be understanding of that. No worries. I get it. Like you build decks. Other people, if you took the time to go home and have a quick change and clean yourself up a little bit, may respect that quite a bit. You show up in a collared shirt,
I wonder
prepared to have a conversation.
One of the things you could do is just throw a golf shirt in the backseat of your truck.
Certainly you could. It doesn't, you don't need to go home and get ready for the ball. You just
a golf shirt.
Clean yourself up real quick.
Any old collared shirt that's clean. That should go. Yep. Like if your jeans are dirty, they probably won't care. If your shorts are dirty, it's probably not too bad.
Yep.
Golf shirt. Make an effort.
Number 7, I just put truck wrap in general because I think there's such a stigma around chuck and a truck guys that are rolling up off Kijiji and nothing but a half ton and a skill saw, and they're a deck builder now.
Yep.
Fly by night, here today, gone tomorrow. Don't do any of the rest of the things on this list. Those are the guys who are ripping around in old rusty trucks that have no signage, no nothing. But if you roll up and you look like a guy like, who's a good one here, like even Simcoe Decks that has his truck with a big logo on the side, or any number of companies that brand their vehicles, you
Mike
just
from Decked
look
Out.
more professional. Cascade, Mike from Decked Out. Lots of examples. Aztec Decks. He's got a great wrap in his van.
I think that one of the very first takeaways from that is it looks like you invested in your business.
Right.
And so then
you're going to be around for a bit.
You've invested in it. So then I'm okay with investing in you because you took yourself seriously.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Number 8 is to keep that truck clean. And speaking of ones that we don't, you get on my case about this all the time because I don't do a good job of keeping my truck clean. It's like,
do you want to trade?
Always clean.
Do you want to trade trucks? Dirty. I'll take yours home for the weekend. I'll clean it tomorrow.
That'd be crazy to turn that down.
Yeah.
But I don't stop at the car wash very often. It's like, unless it's really bad and it's like I happen to be there and I'm getting gas anyway and it's like it takes a lot of things to align for me to do it.
It's a timing thing, I think, for you probably, right? Because you're busy. You're usually late getting out of the store. So you're trying to get home to see the kids, and then by the time you finish that up, it's 9:00 at night, and it's like,
I am unlikely to make a
now
special trip to go wash my vehicle.
Yeah, and it's like 9:00 at night. Do I now go out of the house to wash my truck? It's like, yeah, really.
Yeah. Like if my wife and kids are at the farm and I'm at home doing, well, that doesn't happen either because I just stay here when they're at the farm. But if I didn't have the kids or family home, whatever, I'd have no problem ripping over and doing a car wash.
Yeah,
it'd be like something for me to do. Well, when there's kids at home and stuff,
it certainly does look better to have them cleaned up.
But you spend the money in the wrap, keep it clean, keep it shiny, just looks a little bit more professional again.
Yeah.
Number 9 is to carry around a portfolio. So this doesn't necessarily need to mean a paper portfolio, but I think that could still go a long way in today's world. You can show pictures on your phone, sure. But what would present itself even more professionally is to have a portfolio that you open up with some examples of some jobs you've done, some tutorials, some, what am I trying to say? Some testimonials from people, just some papers to kind of show people like, here's how we do our whatever. Here's what a deck looks like framed from us. All the joists are taped. This is built properly. These are the piles we use. Just like some visuals to go along with the sales aid.
Whatever. And then even some sale aids that are like, here's some skirting options. Here's some privacy wall options. Here's some stair detail options.
Yeah.
Things like that are good, right?
Yep.
One of the reasons I like a portfolio so much is it's easier to lay a binder down and have people look at, like to have multiple people, husband and wife or like partners look at the picture. If you have a phone that's like 4 inches wide by 8 inches tall, 4x7, it's like, well, that doesn't work.
Well, it's hard to keep your phone as organized too. Like I do this in the store all the time, trying to find a picture for somebody because they want to see what a cedar privacy wall looks like. It's like, oh, I've got one of those back on my phone somewhere. And then you stand there for 4 minutes swiping like madman.
So I have a file in my photos that's called decks, and I every once in a while I'll drag pictures into there, and it's like I got skirting and lights, and
so I was doing.
We should almost do this on a Google Drive so that we can share these to everybody.
We should. I was doing it on Instagram a bit too. I was saving. You can save into collections, right? I was creating collections like skirting collection, privacy wall collection, and saving things into there so you could do a quick hitter.
Yeah.
The trouble is like staying on top of it and being proactive and actually putting the pictures into the portfolios and doing all the work.
Yeah.
But once you do, then sure, if you have your phone properly laid out, or an iPad, right? It could be an iPad or a tablet of something, so that could also work. But
sure.
Just some sort of like showing your, because it's hard when people are looking at a piece of paper with a bunch of line items on it to tell who does good work and who doesn't.
Yep.
Why is this one more? Why is this one less? But some visual aids can go a long way. Number 10 is to leave an info sheet on your business. And so I like this idea quite a bit.
Danby signed in.
Yo,
have you been there?
Danny's, yeah. Have you?
Twice.
Yeah, I think it's only 2, maybe 3 times for me too.
It's the best ice cream in Regina.
We should probably go there again tonight. Danny's.
Yep.
They just had an issue with, did you hear about this?
Yes. Somebody's MasterCard fell in?
MasterCard below the deck that we had supplied decking, and I think it was Everflow that had built the deck, local contractor. And we got a phone call one day, we're like, how hard is it to remove one of these boards? Because the customer's card fell through the boards. Anyway, they got it figured out.
Steel framing. It was harder than you think because it was all steel framing.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we had to drill the plugs out and back the screw. Yeah, anyways, sorted out.
I guess we're not ready to move on. Leaving an info sheet. So what I mean by this is you have your 30 minutes, your 45 minutes to pitch yourself while you're sitting there and you're trying to teach and educate and measure and do all these things at once. But what's I like as an idea is leaving an info sheet behind that tells a bit more about you. So when people have now, they're not standing face to face with you, they can go back and do the research and they can start with a sheet to be like, oh, they've been in business since 2007. It's a family business. And, they started here and they moved to here and they did this and just like a little bit more about you. And then it's like, oh, they've got their insurance coverages. They offer a warranty, like all these little things about your business and what you do differently, how you set yourself apart in a little 1-pager or 2-pager that you can leave behind that they can kind of hang on to, because the next guy's probably not doing that.
You be like, this is my insurance policy. Here's my coverage. Here's my WCB number.
Yep. Well, you're skipping ahead. Number 11.
I didn't even know the list. Yeah. That's why I was like, I don't know what's happening.
Apparently
today.
It's a super logical progression. Number 11, carry your proof of insurance and your WCB.
Yeah. Okay.
Or whatever you call it in your market.
Yeah. It's a workers' compensation board. So if you get injured on the site, you know that the homeowners know that you're covered and you're not going to sue them for their house because you lost your hand at their job site.
Yeah. So they may want to see that, they may not, but it would be pretty impressive if somebody had it ready to show you. It's like, just say, like, do you have insurance? Sure. Here's my certificate.
So my whole life of working in construction, I was never, not one time, asked if I could provide proof of insurance, WCB, or journeyman carpentry papers.
Right.
Ever. And so
I believe that I may have been asked, not for carpentry, but just asked. Nobody asked to like prove it. There's like, do you have insurance? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So I did WCB on some commercial sites. I had to produce a letter of good standing.
Yeah.
Before I could get paid out for, some commercial projects. But in residential, nobody ever asked. Ever.
Interesting. Yeah.
So if you were to be able to
proactively show them,
you just put that out there and we're like, here's my piece of paper, these are my insurance, this is my WCB number, blah, blah.
And maybe that's part of your info sheet that we just talked about, right? Maybe that's the back page. It's like, here's my insurance number, my WCB number, whatever. If you are Red
GST
Seal,
number,
here's my whatever. Yep. If you do require a certificate in your area to be a contractor, some states
city
and provinces
license
require a license.
Here's my license number.
Not here, we don't, but like it could just be a page of confidence.
Yeah.
Number 12, be timely with estimates. And this is Rich coming from us because I know that we're quite behind on ours right now. And we don't ballpark anything. We do full takeoffs for people when they want it done. So it's great because
for better or worse, right?
Yeah, if they want to buy it, it's as easy as click a button because you've already done all the work. But boy, when it starts to get hairy in here, it gets backed up pretty quickly. So, but I think more important than anything here is to be upfront with how long it's going to take and then stick to it. It doesn't really matter if it's 24 hours or 1 week or 2 weeks even. Just if you tell them it's going to be 10 days, be 10 days or less.
Yeah.
Because if you say 10 days and then you're 3 weeks, you've probably, I don't know, there's no stats on this, I don't assume, but I bet you've dropped your chances of getting that job significantly by not.
You could just make some up, like a couple.
Can't hold to that schedule, can't hold to any schedule.
A couple pods ago, you're just making up stats like crazy. Seems like a funny time to slow it down now.
Yeah, well, I wasn't prepared now. But yeah, it's always better to under promise and over deliver than the opposite, right? You want to say, I'll get this to you in 2 days, and then like 9 days later, they're chasing you down. You're like, where's the estimate?
Yep.
You said you've already kind of put yourself into a a crappy relationship position now.
Yep.
So number 13, and this one's debatable, and there's going to be some people that will argue against this. But what I had put here was providing an estimate that has line items or at least some clarity around it. So I don't know that you necessarily, as a contractor, I don't know that I even agree that you should be doing full breakdown line items, but I think you probably should categorize it so that people can understand the numbers a little bit easier. Because I know some guys are like, nope, it's 40 grand at the bottom. But then that leaves a whole bunch of open-ended questions about what's included in the 40 grand.
Yeah, because then, so you get to the end of the job and you're like, well, it turns out that this was an extra. And the customer's like, how the F is that an extra? I didn't even know what was the original.
Yeah. And so I'm guessing a lot of those guys maybe will come back and say, we're providing a scope of work, et cetera, or whatever. But I think customers appreciate more clarity into their estimate to understand what's involved. And so it's a catch-22 for sure, because some customers would want to see that so that they can grind you on something. If you get too detailed, then they pick, right? It's like, well, I noticed you only took 4 hours to build that bench top bar table thing. Then you charged me for 7.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm getting a discount there. The odd person is going to try to pull that crap. So I don't really need to at that level. When I was doing my estimates under Fresh Decks, I just split things out in categories. So it was like framing is this much materials and this much install. Decking is this much materials, this much install. It was just like by like category, like steps of the job essentially, right?
Yeah.
So it was never going to specify that I was taking this many hours to do the framing, or I was using this many 2x8s to do the framing. It was just kind of lumped in so that they could kind of see. And I think a lot of people commented that they appreciated that I did break it down on some levels so they could see what was what.
Where the money was.
And it comes across as being more honest.
I always did mine when I was doing trim work, was always broken down line item by line item. Your door costs you this much glue, this much like lineal footage of casing.
Yeah.
These, like this many pickets. Yeah. She was item by item.
Yeah.
And I absolutely got shopped on that. People would be like, oh, well, I went to the store and I could buy this exact same product for 5% less than you're selling it to me.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, okay, well, give her then. Go ahead and make sure it's here on the day I'm ready. Because I'm a contractor. I don't know what day that is exactly, but I'll know when I'm ready, and then it needs to be here. And so anyways, you go through the process of explaining, and people often did, they stopped grinding after a while, but mine was like item by item because it was how I wanted to do my takeoff. So then I just shared that with them.
Yep. There's a comment in the Instagram here from New England Deck Pros that says, I have got a lot of good feedback on timely estimates. I definitely think it has helped to get jobs this year. And, well, especially this year, right? Because so many people are backed up that first guy to get them to talk to somebody might have the best chance of getting the job, right?
Yes.
I know I literally just got through I think it was Instagram or Facebook message from somebody the other day. It said, I'm trying to help my parents out here. They've been waiting for 2.5 weeks for an estimate from another business, a competing business, and they're not getting it. Can you guys give us a quote faster? And I said, nope.
I could try, but
I just said
you're 10 deep.
They asked if we could get the product to them faster so that they get started, whatever. And I said, well, it depends on what it is. If it's a stock product, no problem. I can do a quote fairly quickly for you and get that turned around. If it needs to be ordered, whatever. But let me know what you need, kind of thing, right? Yeah. And so there's an example of somebody didn't get back in time and they're just gone. It's like on to the next to find somebody that can help them. So, number 14 is having line items for optional upgrades. So I like this one quite a bit too, because a lot of times people want to know what the extras are going to cost. They want to see the budget, kind of what they think they can afford, but they want to know how much more it is to go to something else, to tape their joists, to go from pickets to glass, to do the cable rail.
Add lights.
To do that kind of thing. Add lights, right?
That was a good one.
And so a good way to do that, I think, it might take a little bit more effort, is to do your estimate and then at the bottom have your optional upsells, your optional upgrades saying like add a light package for $600. Add some G-tape for $500. Add whatever. And then it's just easily digestible. And then you don't have to spend the time going back to re-quote it when they say at the end, we're like, well, I think we're going to do that now. It's like you've kind of done the math. It's all there. They can check the boxes essentially and be like, yep, do it.
Yeah.
So I like that quite a bit. That's something we got to do.
It's an easy upsell. You know what I mean? Because then it starts the conversation, then they noodle on it, and then boom, it's done.
Yep. So now we're halfway through this list and we're at the point where they're ready to go. And I think one of the most important and professional steps is to have a contract in front of them ready to sign. because this removes a lot of the questions and the ambiguity around certain things and who's responsible for what, and can clarify the scope of work and everything else.
Yep.
And you can put your warranty terms in there. It's just a cover your ass kind of document, and helps the customer know what they're getting to and what they're expected to do, or what they're within their rights to claim or look, it just kind of lays the groundwork for the relationship, especially I think this is a no-brainer on large jobs. You know what I mean? Like, I always kind of let the smaller jobs go. It was like, I don't know, I need a contract to go build a 10 by 10 square deck, but it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, but it's like it's over before the contract, before the ink dries.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you're doing $100,000 deck, you can also put your payment, like your progress payment terms, into that contract.
Correct. Yeah.
Which needs to be in there.
Yeah. And it just like, it's a lot less fly by nightish, rather than the guy just be like, okay, so $100,000. Yep. $100,000. You just give me that, and then I'll build you a deck.
Yeah.
And then I'll just show up and I'll just build your deck.
What's the payment process? Well, I'll come see you when I need some money.
Yeah. It just helps people feel a little bit more comfortable with exchanging the money on a larger project, for sure.
Yep.
It's not even an option for a larger project. You need a contract.
You need a contract.
Number 16 is keep communication consistent. And so we're all human, and most of the people that we build decks for are humans.
Mm-hmm.
I've always found the odd spider monkey here or there.
Yep.
But border agency's trying to crack down on that, though. But
of course, everybody's had a customer that seemed inhumane.
There's a there's a few that you're not so sure.
Yeah.
But what I mean with this is just like things can slide when things are like, this is a seasonal business for many of us, and so you go from very slow to very hectic, and it's hard, if not impossible, to schedule properly for schedule enough people. And like, it's just when things get hairy, things are going to get hairy. You're not going to be able to keep 100% tabs on everything you're doing.
Correct.
Some things are going to slide. It's probably okay as long as you keep the lines of communication open with your customer. Yeah. If you said, I'm going to deliver you an estimate in 4 days, and the fourth day comes and there's no chance of that happening, a simple phone call would be like, hey, I'm so sorry, I've gotten tied up this week. Do you mind if I get it to you later this week or something? And 90% of people would be like, no problem. Thanks for the phone call. Thanks for letting us know.
Yep.
But if you don't make that phone call and they have to come chase you, then they've started with frustration. So you've actually turned this from a potentially positive communication to a negative relationship just by not making that phone call.
Yep.
And this goes with a wide variety of things, right? The day you're supposed to start the job, let them know. If you get delayed because your permit gets recalled, let them know. If your materials don't show up in time, let them know. Because if you don't let them know these things, it's all your fault.
Yes. You were the only one who knew.
You're the guy, right?
You knew in advance, right? So
just keep the lines of communication open and consistent. And we get that, right? We let things slide sometimes. You order something for somebody and then it doesn't come in when it was supposed to, but you were busy, you didn't notice it came in, and all of a sudden they're calling you, like, you said the glass was going to come in last week. Or did come in, you didn't
call them,
right? So things happen. So a lot of people are just like, I'm fine that it's not there, but just let me know. Because you said you were going to be here. I came home from work thinking it was supposed to be done. It's not. Now I don't know if you've forgotten about me or if you don't care or whatever. Yeah. Simple phone call. Did I write be timely with estimate on here twice? Oh my goodness, it's not 30. We're gonna have to think of a new one.
Well, we'll come up with one.
Number, I guess we're gonna change this. You want to come up with one right now?
Nope.
Can you do that?
Okay, what have we done so far? We've done the contract and we've
16. And we're at the contract part. They signed the contract, and now we're saying let's keep the communication open. Start dates are going to change. Let them know all this sort of stuff. Anyway, we can move on. We can add one at the end. We'll pull the audience for the 30th one off Instagram. So you guys on Instagram have a job to do now. You've got to think of another thing that's good to do that customers will appreciate that we haven't mentioned by the time we get to the end of this list.
Sure.
Number 17, call in to check after the estimate has been delivered. So this is again, in the heat of the season, it's easy to send an estimate off and then on to the next and wait for somebody to phone you.
Yeah.
And then they phone you and be like, hey, I'm just, and you're like, oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Let me dig that up. It'd be good if you, within a certain amount of time, 1 week might be it, might be 3 days, might be whatever you
should just add them to your CRM.
Right. That's where CRMs help, is with scheduling this kind of stuff. Right. So check in, because you never know if they maybe didn't get the estimate, if they set it aside and kind of forgot about it, if they're...
We had that at the start of the year. Lots of people weren't getting our estimates, right? And it was like,
our software setting was getting picked up by spam filters left, right, and center. And so if you don't do the follow-up...
I don't know how we ended up doing a couple follow-up. Maybe people followed up with us because we just believed it was working. We were sending off estimates and nothing was coming back. And then all of a sudden somebody emailed you or called you and was like, hey, are you going to send me this estimate? And you're like, it's right here. I sent it out.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yep.
I got nothing. So
check your spam folder. There it is.
There it is. Oh,
so
boy.
the follow-up call does a few things. It gives you a chance to re-engage with them, to kind of help close the job again, address any concerns they might have. They've probably got some questions after you delivered the estimate, undoubtedly.
Yeah, your quote's higher than the other guy's quote they got back.
Now you have a chance to explain why.
Please tell me why you're more than this guy. Oh, yeah, no problem. Here we go.
Yeah. So it's a good idea to check in. You're going to close a lot of jobs. Your closing rate will be a lot higher if you do those follow-ups than if you just kind of send it off into the ether and hope that it comes back to you at some point. So
here's a fun take on that. I wonder if you'd be better off to do less estimates and a better job of them. Because your close rate would likely be higher, right?
That's entirely what's behind the idea of charging for estimates.
Just do less of them.
Maybe that should be number 17.
Yeah.
You want to appear more professional? And this sounds odd to say, like, your customers will appreciate or be impressed by this. If you're running a ship like that and you're charging for estimates, arguably that could be presented as a more impressive operation. It's like, these guys are formal and they have a process and they're a real business. And they're not just showing up after hours when they're, all willy-nilly. They've got this very formal. So let's make that number 17. We've talked about that one a lot before. We're big believers in it, and which is funny because we don't. We don't charge to do.
Yeah, but we charge to go out to do an estimate. If something is out of the norm for us, if we have to just drive out to somebody's house and measure their yard and blah, 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 we charge for that.
Yeah, which we rarely do, but we just tell people, sure, we can come measure the yard. We can send somebody out, but there's a fee associated with that.
Yeah, but if they bring us everything, if they bring us pictures and they bring us the dimensions of the deck, we didn't have to go get that stuff, so.
We're going to make that number 17 only so that I can keep my numbers in order a little bit easier now.
Yeah, charge for the estimate. I like that one quite a bit.
Yep.
Refund it. Give it back to them. Just don't
don't
get abused.
That's the thing. You can give this back if they decide to pull the trigger with you. Rebate that $100 back.
Yeah.
Whatever you're charging. Doesn't really matter what you're charging. The point of this is to weed out the tire kickers, to give you more time to pay more attention to the customers that should have your attention.
That's right.
So instead of doing 20 estimates this week, do 8.
Yeah, and land
and close 6 of them.
6 or 7 of those, right?
Rather than doing 20 of them and closing 5 because you didn't pay attention. One of the ones you would have got left because you were too busy doing other stuff for people that weren't going to ever hire you anyway.
7 of them got dropped.
Yeah.
So now you really only got 13.
Yeah. People always talk about what's your close rate. You should be closing around 20%. And if you're closing more than that, you're charging too little. And if you're less than that, you're too much. Yeah, but it depends on what your whole process is for getting these quotes anyway.
Yeah, if you did it the right way, your close rate would be 90%, 80%, and you'd have the right customers knocking on your door the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so number 18, I guess, would have been to call and check in after the estimate and see how things are going, address any questions. And number 19, be clear on expectations. So it's good to set boundaries, I think, and that's kind of what this is referring to, is that this goes both ways. What your expectations are from the homeowner and what their expectations of you should be, and what the expectations of the product should be. And
also kind of it gives them a chance to tell you what they expect out of you.
Yeah.
Here's what I want. I want you to show up and finish the project. Don't be here for 2 days and then bounce and then back and then bounce and then.
Yeah.
What are the plans here?
Yeah, you can lay that out.
This like this.
We're going to be here every day until this job is done. You shouldn't be out walking around on this deck before it's complete. That's stay out of the work zone.
Very, very dangerous.
Yeah. Stay out of the work zone. Don't let your pets out here while we're working.
Because I'll pet it.
Yeah, because
kids can't come out here. I'll tickle them. We'll be
risk of kisses. And then product
I'll be teaching your kids swear words. If your kid's out here, here's the thing. I'm going to teach them how to swear.
Did I skip? Where did I leave that? Oh no, it's coming up. So just lay out the expectations. Same thing. Like if you're using a product that's going to, and they want to have miters in their deck and you know that's going to open up, maybe address that up front. Be like, here's what to expect from your product. It will move and expand and contract. The reason the gaps are in the boards is for this. The reason that we're, if that opens up, that's not That's not a callback. That's not a warranty claim. That is just that's the nature of the product.
It's a product flaw.
So expectations for yourself, for them, for the products, just be clear about everything. Because as we've said before, anything that you say up front is knowledge, and anything you try to say afterwards is an excuse, right?
Yep.
So heads up, we're going to miter these corners. They're going to look great day one, but
Tomorrow morning,
when it cools off, that miter is going to open up a little bit. That is a natural thing. That's how this product works. It expands and contracts with temperature. That's normal. But if you don't say anything, and then 3 weeks later they call you, be like, your miter, it's all open. It's like, oh yeah, that's normal. You didn't say anything about that being normal. Like it just sounds like you're trying to cover your butt and not go do a callback.
Yeah.
So number 20, keep a clean job site. So you've made it to the job site, and at the end of every day, you kind of clean up and tidy things, because people may, like I just finished saying, people shouldn't be out on the job site, but your deck might be having an impact on this part of the yard, and maybe there's a swimming pool in the back and the kids are okay to go play in it, whatever. But if you've left chunks of blocks of wood laying everywhere and knife bowl blades snapped off and nails over the ground and everything else, it just looks crappy on you. Yep. And if one of the kids or somebody happens to trip over something or cut themselves on something, it's like, it's not a good situation. So just take the time to keep your job site clean, looks super professional, avoids any risk of like issues.
WCB claims.
Right.
Yeah.
And number 21 is to keep a clean mouth. So we mentioned this earlier before too. I'm not great.
Neither am I
for this. But what I discovered the other day is that it's full within my capability and my ability to not swear, because in certain situations I know not to, and I don't.
Yep.
But sometimes you get going, especially when you're in a crew and you're working with the same guys for the last 14 years, and it's like, it's easy just to kind of let your tongue listen. But then the customer's window's open and they got kids home and you're out there cursing like a sailor and all this stuff. Like, it just doesn't look good at all to anybody. So keeping a clean mouth is good. Keeping it professional.
Yeah, like the jokes you tell, the stories you tell, all of that stuff, right?
Yeah. Number 22, go the extra mile during the build and have the right tools. This could mean just having the right tools. So is that customer expecting that you're going to lay down a dead straight track and cut their boards off in a perfectly straight line? They might not be expecting that, but give that to them. Like, be better than they expect. Go the extra mile. This doesn't mean do things for free. This just means like, have your quality level standards be higher than what they're expecting.
Yep.
And that
no need to elaborate on that one.
That can be part of like clean the job site too, going the extra mile.
They already have.
They don't expect that maybe, right?
Yeah. Everybody already has an idea of how bad contractors are. So just clean that up. Like, if your guys smoke, clean up the cigarette butts. If you're cutting a miter and it's just not perfect, like, make it perfect. Take a little bit of time. They gave you $20,000. Well, pretend like that happened.
Yeah, exactly. So this could be something simple too. Maybe you do throw in a little bit extra. Like, have your margins set so that you can absorb some of this the odd time. But maybe you're building a deck at a house that the deck is 6 inches below the door threshold, and they've got an old dog with a bad leg or something, and you decide, like, it'd be cool if we built a little ramp here for the dog. And they didn't expect that. You had some scrap lumber sitting around. It took you 15 minutes to build it. Yeah. You know how far that would go with somebody? I know we had a decked out contracting here in Regina that did a big deck for the lawn bowling club here.
Yes.
And a lot of the lawn bowling members are senior citizens, and they've got to carry around their bags of balls and whatever, or their little carts with the wheels on it.
Yep.
And so the decked out guys, I don't know how this came to be, but I think they had asked for a solution to this, and they built a ramp down the stairs so that the people who were at the club could wheel their balls down with them as they went down the stairs.
So it's like a ramp just right beside the stairs.
Right beside the
stairs are built, then just a ramp.
You drag the balls beside you, but you can go down the ramp. That way they don't have to pick them up down the stairs. It's only 2 or 3 steps.
Simple solution.
Simple little thing, and it's like, they appreciated that a lot.
Yeah.
So it's just like doing those little extra things, and again, probably just made out of some scraps.
Yep.
Right? So.
Yeah.
Number 23 is to provide change orders. So things change on a job often, especially on bigger projects where the customer decides, oh, I actually don't like how that looks and feels, or, you know what, I think we do want to do the lights there. I know we said no, but we want to. And so it's easy enough to just be like, yep, sounds good. On you go, continue on. Then you go to build out at the end of the job, and it's like, what's this $1,500 for? Well, that's the lights you want to add in. Well, I didn't think it was going to be $1,500. You can avoid those problems by simply...
Well, two ways. You've already had it on your estimate. Here's
if
your
it's something that
upgrades.
was already there, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
And then you just... The change order is official.
Yeah. It could be something as simple, too, though, as you built the deck and they changed the location of the stairs or something after the fact, and the grade was longer there, so it's 2 more additional steps.
Yep.
And it's like, well, I need to charge for those. It's going to take my guys more time. It's going to require 3 more boards to do this.
Your railing has changed now.
My 2x12s are too short, and I got to swap those out and all these things. And it's like the proper way to go about that is to do up a change order so that there's clarity around what that change is going to be. Avoid any issues at the end.
Yeah.
Number 24, clean up after you're done. So this is especially relevant in the springtime when everything's kind of muddy. Sometimes you're working in new homes where there's no landscaping yet. This doesn't only mean like clean up your own garbage and whatever else. It's also like clean the project off and make it look nice. You just built a new car. Like when you buy a new deck, when you go buy a new car, they clean it and have it ready for you.
Yep.
It's like you don't hop in, there's sunflower seeds in the floor and it's like all muddy because somebody took it for a test drive.
Yeah, well, it rained yesterday.
Yeah. They polish it up and they give you a good experience when you get that. So the first time that your customers come out onto a new deck that they just paid $30,000 for should be pleasant and it should be clean and it should be like the best it's ever going to look.
Yep.
Right then in that moment. So take the time to clean up afterwards. Spend a few extra hours there.
What's a pressure washer cost?
Yeah.
$200.
Exactly.
So,
some comments here. We got some fans of track saws in here, and then we've got Forceman's Finest. Widen the beaten path from driveway to deck. Trampled grass happens quickly.
Yeah, so I think he's just talking like where you're walking. Just walk around the yard.
Yeah, don't kind of march a path into one spot kind of thing.
The old cattle trail, beaten down path.
Yeah, I was always very cognizant, too, of where the lumber sat in the grass and for how long on my job sites, because you get your deliveries or you'd stack your own lumber in the backyard or whatever it might be. The dunnage is laying there and you lay it there for a few days. And if it's more than like 2 or 3 days, the grass starts to die under it. And it's like, nobody wants to deal with that.
Yeah.
You don't want to finish the deck and then they've got this pristine lawn and you've left dead grass under where their lumber is sitting. So we always had a thing. It was like, if the lumber was sitting there for more than 2 or 3 days, it was like, okay, guys, we're starting the morning by moving that lumber over here now. Just to give the grass, because we won't be on that job site for 2-3 weeks.
Yep.
If you leave that there, it's dead.
It's over. Yeah.
So number 25 is to leave your mark or signature. So a lot of guys now are starting to put emblems on the deck now. They're getting their logo done up and they're sticking that somewhere, kind of branding the deck a little bit. This doesn't necessarily need to mean that. But if you've got something that you do that nobody else does, it's kind of like unique to you. You can leave your signature on the deck. This is what I'm talking about. So it may just be that you do your railing installs a little bit differently. Like a while back, I know that Infinite Decks was doing their own custom corner rail posts, kind of making them out of Versatex or AZEC PVC.
Yep.
It's like it was unique.
Mm-hmm.
You only got that from Infinite Decks. So that was their signature that they left behind. Some guys are just putting an emblem on it, and it's kind of like, that's my mark of quality.
Yes.
Like, I'm proud to put my name on this project. Another thing I really like, and this is in the concrete world, but we've got a local concrete contractor that does driveways and sidewalks and whatnot, and he always presses leaves into the concrete when it's still fresh.
Yeah.
Lets it dry and then peels the leaves out with tweezers and leaves little leaf patterns in the concrete. That's kind of like his stamp, his signature on it.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yep.
Really cool to kind of add your own touch to it.
Awesome.
New England Deck Pros says, I use my cordless blower to fluff the path each day.
Now that's pretty good.
That's going the extra mile.
Well, it doesn't take any time.
Stand the grass all back up. Yeah, no, it takes next to no time.
Why not? What a great idea.
Number 26, provide a warranty and care package. So I think this is something we could do better too. I like the idea that all these products carry a big warranty. We all like to talk about them when we're selling the product. The customer likes to ask about it or know what the warranties are.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the job, nobody talks about the warranties anymore. It's just kind of job's done, you walk away. But it's like, well, what if something is to happen? What's the steps? What's the process? Who do I call?
Yeah.
They ask these questions like, oh, your Trex deck has a 25-year warranty. Sure, they learned that when they were shopping for the deck. But in 3 years' time from now, they're not going to remember what the warranty was on the deck. But if you've given them a little care package that says, like, here's what to do. Pressure wash your deck with this type of nozzle from this distance away for general kind of maintenance for cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a grease stain on your barbecue, use Dawn dish soap, stiff bristle brush, wash it off. If you get sap from a tree, use WD-40, then Dawn dish soap, wash that off. Like just little care tips
Yes.
about your project.
Yeah.
Your Trex deck has a 25-year warranty. I'm a Trex Pro. You've got a 5-year labor warranty from me, or 2-year, 4-year, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
Your railing has a 20-year structural warranty and a 5-year finish warranty. I've included a paint pen if you have any nicks or like how to keep this thing.
If
good.
you have to make a claim with Trex, don't call me.
Yeah, call this number.
This
Here's
is
the
how.
process.
This is the process.
Sure.
Right?
And because you do often have a variety of products in the deck that have different warranties and different processes and
These
whatever
are
else. So,
earmark these things for wintertime packages. Like,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like you could build that thing all winter, and then in the summer you just have whatever 20 of them printed off, and away you go.
You bought a Trex deck. Here's the Trex package.
Yep.
And the Regal rail, or whatever combination you have, right?
Yeah.
Number 27, provide a thank you gift. So they didn't have to give you their business.
Any money.
None. They could have chose somebody else. We're losing it, and we're gonna Instagram hit our hour time limit again. I hate that thing. Anyway, what I'm referring to here is kind of at the end of the job, just a small thank you gift with a little gift set of some sort. It could just be as simple as a card, but it could be a card with a gift card out for dinner, because you don't want it from Arby's, but like gift card out for dinner.
Not supper.
Could be a barbecue utensil kit.
So I was like, yeah, what if it was a gift card to some company that you'd partnered with, right? So you partner with a
Stop getting ahead of yourself.
Oh, I didn't, sorry. Obviously we think the same.
Yeah. But just a thank you gift to say, it could even be just some of your own garb. Could be a hoodie of yours,
Sure.
like not of your personal one. That'd be weird. Peel that
Like
off
the
the back.
dirty one?
Like, here,
Like-
you can have this one.
Yeah. This is the shirt I was wearing when we started this build, and that's yours now.
I'm planning on a deep hibernation this year anyway, so I don't think that this is going to fit me come January anyway. You might as well have it. You're fairly slim still. So just an act of kindness, an act of thank you, an act of gratitude.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what exactly it looks like. It's just an appreciation for the customer at the end to say, like, thanks for hiring us and putting your trust in us. We appreciate it. So on and so forth. Now, number 28 plays on a little bit when you were going there already, is to partner with like businesses for cross promotions. So what I think is a cool idea is you've gone out and built their deck, but so you're done with them, but they may not be done investing in their home.
They're not done. They've only just, it's a canvas now. Here it is. You've laid the groundwork.
Right. So maybe they need to get some landscaping done, or maybe they need to put a fire pit in their deck now, or a barbecue.
For sure, furniture.
For sure, furniture. So you could maybe partner with some companies and they'd be probably willing to do it because there's something in it for them too. You're sending them a lead, but you could say, here's a little package. It could be part of your thank you gift. And it's like, here's 10% off your, landscaping materials or something from so-and-so. Here's a barbecue thing. If you buy the barbecue from these guys, you get free something or other thrown in with it. Here's a smoker thing. You get free biscuits. If you like, This could be little things like little perks that you provide them afterwards for working with you. Looks great on you. Shows you that you're partnered up in the community. You've got relationships in the community, so you look more professional. So I like that one. Number 29, have a formal process for asking for reviews. And so I think that this is like some people might ask, how is that impressing your customer? And I think it's just the formality of it and the fact that you care about your business enough to ask people for a review and be like, I'm going to be around for a while. This helps me. Rather than just kind of like on to the next.
It's important to me to have a good review, right?
Yeah, it's important to me for my
review.
Yeah,
they don't all have to be good, but it's important to have the review.
Yeah, and this is big for you too, right? To be able to formally go back afterwards, make sure that everything went okay, and then ask for that review.
Because then you can take that and put it into your portfolio.
Yeah, and then on to the next. And number 30 is check in after a month. Do another check-in.
This one's huge. We don't do this.
We don't, and we should, but. You do the project. Often people are very happy. And then you're like, sounds good. Thanks so much. Here's your final bill. They pay it and then poof, gone.
You run into him at the grocery store.
Yeah, then you see him. Yeah, then you see him later. And it's like,
well, yeah, I think I did your deck. Did I build your deck?
What would probably go a long way is for you to follow up in a month and be like, how's everything working out?
Yeah.
Is there anything
you want me to come take a look at?
Yeah.
Are the stairs the way you thought they were going to be?
You guys enjoying it? Like, send me some pictures of you guys enjoying your backyard now. I'd love to use that in my whatever. Just check in and make sure. And I think the fear for some people is like, I don't want to give them the opportunity to give me problems I have to deal with, right? Some people might be like, they're probably fine with that miter being open, but if I phone them and give them opportunity to bring it up, they're going to, and then I'm going to have to go Yeah,
I gotta go
but
fix it. And it's like,
yeah,
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
you could have cleared that up earlier with laying out the expectations. So this is
Almost-
just a good care check-in.
yeah, almost for sure you're going to end up with a little bit more work out of that. No, it's not like it's not for certain, but I would say that at least 50% of the time there will be something that you need to go for, right?
You might have to do something.
And you think of that as a negative experience, but imagine it from the customer side.
Right.
That's the most positive experience. It's like, oh, this guy followed up with me, and it was like,
If you didn't get the review before,
you got it there.
you'll get it now.
Yeah. There's, you know what? It's just like the one board, you put that spine board in, and I don't know, like I can kind of see the framing below there. And I thought that was going to be blacker or something, and I didn't think I'd see it. Oh, you know what? That's a quick trip for my guys. We'll come out, we'll just pop that board out, throw a little G-tape down on that spine board, and throw it back in. I didn't know that would bother you. My bad.
Yep. Because
That certainly costs you time. It costs you a little bit of money, but it's like,
But
it's
another way to
worth
look
it in
at though
spades.
is that you're asking them how their deck experience was, and they're telling you.
Yeah.
Because if they got something to say, they're going to tell that same thing to anybody who asks how their deck build went.
Right.
So maybe they've got a neighbor or a friend or a parent that also needs a deck and be like, you did a deck with so-and-so. How was it? It was okay, but the way they did the seam board thing was like, it was not really good. So
come here and look at it. You can see
I'd rather
this,
hear
right?
that once and have a chance to fix it, and then their review be like, they were great. Like there was like a minor thing that they came back and fixed. Like they phoned me and I came out and fixed it. It was amazing, and it looks way better now. Like
Yep.
solid. And rather than them telling the bad part 25 times to other people.
And it's not bad enough that they should be telling people, because you'd fix it in a heartbeat if you had a crack at it.
Yeah.
So get the crack at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's now. You were working ahead sometimes and kind of guessing where I was going in some of these. Is there any that you think I missed? I didn't ask for your input on these today. I just kind of ran with it, but we're at 30. Do you have a 31? And for the Instagram people that are watching too, if they have anything to add to this list, it can be a 32 list.
No, I think that was, it was a pretty good list. There's nothing that comes to mind right away.
Now the key is to execute on it, right? It's easy to come up with the ideas. The ideas took 5 minutes. The execution on this,
It's a lifetime.
much bigger.
It's a lifetime
It's
of
a
trying to fix
change for sure. Yeah. So it's that's a good list. I think. Should we go through real quick 1 through 30 just for people who might be looking
just
to
a
implement this
quick
stuff?
recap.
Number 1, have a good website, a social presence. Number 2, be on time when you're going to do an on-site visit. Number 3, take your shoes off when you get to the door. Number 4, pet the dog. 5, engage with the kids. Number 6, dress to impress, not to build the deck. Number 7, wrap your truck or your vehicles, look professional. Number 8, keep your truck clean. Number 9, carry a portfolio with you, whether that's on an iPad or a actual physical portfolio. Mm-hmm. Just some visual reference tools. Number 10, leave an info sheet on your business, just a little bit of a wrap sheet on who you are, what you do, what sets you apart.
Yeah.
Number 11, carry your proof of insurance and your WCB or whatever you call it, your workers' compensation.
Yeah, I like the idea of putting that on
stuff.
that wrap sheet.
Yeah. And then number 12, be timely with your estimates. Deliver it when you say you're going to deliver it or sooner. Number 13, provide a clear and concise estimate, possibly line item, but at least have some detail around it, not just a big number at the bottom.
Yep.
Number 14, have some line items that include some optional upgrades that people may consider and the cost associated with that. Number 15, have a contract when it's time to sign on the dotted line. Make sure that there's a clear contract that kind of covers everybody's butts. Number 16, keep the communication open and consistent during the process from start to finish. That's where we fell off. Number 17, we decided was going to be charged for your estimates. Number 18, call to check in after the estimate has been delivered. So at some arbitrary date afterwards, 4 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever it might be.
I think a week is probably a good time, right?
Week seems good, yeah. Gives people a chance to digest a little bit.
Almost for sure they didn't think it was going to be as much as you sent that, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's
So that
rare
takes a
that people are
little
like,
bit of
that's
time.
not bad. That's rare.
Yeah, I did it today. The customers on the floor, they asked a question, and I was like, I think you'll be about this much. And they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that's kind of what we thought.
Yeah.
So
good. Number 19, be clear on the expectations of yourself, of the customer, of the products. Just make sure it's all laid out. Number 20, keep your job site clean. Number 21, keep your mouth clean. Number 22.
And then we get a comment in there that's
Yeah, this guy rolls in and just F-bombs right in the, I don't know what that was about.
that's pretty funny.
Number 22, go the extra mile during the build and have the right tools to do so, to give people a better quality than they expect. Number 23, provide change orders for any changes along the way. Number 24, clean up your job site after you're done. Clean up your project after you're done. Number 25, leave some sort of mark or signature that you've been there, whether it's your branding or
Mine was always
special
DNA. I usually bled all over the site somehow.
that too. Number 26, provide a warranty and care package on how people can care for their project afterwards, and if they have an issue, what the process is for that. So number 27, provide a thank you gift, just a little act of gratitude back towards the customer at the end for choosing you and working with you.
And so that I think would be a gift card forward to somewhere else, because that gives them a ton of value.
I like that idea.
It's like, here, 5% off of furniture from this place.
Yeah. Well, that's the next one. Partner with a business with like businesses for cross promotion. So that kind of thing. Yep. You finish it. It's home builders do this flawlessly. Home builders do this all the time. They give you a whole portfolio full of perks and knickknacks after the fact. It's like, you bought your home through us, great. Here's a $100 gift card to Tim Hortons, and here's like 15% off carpet cleaning services, and here's like 20% off your landscaping services and whatever, right? Like, they've got that nailed down.
Yep.
Number 29, have a formal process for asking for reviews. And number 30, check in after a month just to see how things are going. See if there's just anything else you can do to impress them.
Yep. So you get through that whole thing. Do you have any like five of the biggest? Like, which ones you think are the most important? And through the whole...
boy. I don't know that I can pick 5 that are the most important. I think the stuff that people miss the most is the stuff at the end of the list, the after sales.
Right.
Like, after it's all said and done. I think that stuff gives you the best chance at leaving a lasting impression. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's going to put you over top. If you did your deck for somebody and they would give you like an 8 out of 10, they're like, they were really good.
Yeah.
Not perfect, but really good.
Yeah.
If you follow up and you nail them with like a thank you gift, and then you check in after a month and be like, anything I can do to make that better, you can turn that 8 to a 10 just by doing those 2 things.
Yeah.
So I think those things are really important. I do think the upfront stuff is very important as well.
So I have a couple upfront that I think are important. I believe that the irony on this is not lost. I believe that being on time is really important.
Yeah.
I'm arguably the worst person on earth for being on time. I'm late for everything.
Yeah.
But I think it's important.
Me too.
I think providing the insurance and WCB is really, really important. I think that's a step that not everybody is doing. Providing the scope of work, I think, is super important.
Yep. Cleaning
up the job site at the end is finished, like actually polish it up and then follow up 1 month after.
Yep.
If I could pick 5 out of there, I'd be like, be on time, show them that you're a super professional, be very clear about what's going to happen in the job, whether that's a contract or whatever, and then clean up after yourself and follow up.
Yeah,
that's it.
That might be one of the big, maybe not for the customer's sake, but for your sake, the whole being clear with what you're doing on that job.
Yeah.
Like your scope of work is probably one of the most neglected things, except with businesses that really have their shit together.
Yeah.
But yet one of the most important things, because you see this day in and day out. I've got 3 quotes. One's $7,000, one's $12,000, and one's $15,000. How is this so different?
Yeah.
How is one guy 7, one guy how?
Yeah.
And nobody provides a thorough enough scope of work that you can even answer that question. You can't even nobody can help them to say like, well, the first guy actually didn't even include railing. The second guy seems like a reasonable estimate. And the third guy, well, he's G-taping all the joists.
Yep.
So that's an extra cost. He's actually using a better railing than what the first guy was going to use, or second guy was going to use.
First guy wasn't using railing.
First guy wasn't using railing. And this guy's skirting in the whole deck.
Yeah.
Nobody else was skirting it. So like, that's super important details, especially if you're the high guy. You need to explain why you're the high guy. You know why you're the high guy.
Yep.
But you need to be able to give that to the customer in layman's terms, say like, here's why we're more.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to even say that up front. Be like, listen, my estimate's going to be higher than if you're getting other estimates. Good chance I'm higher. Here's why.
Yep.
And if that's part of your little info package,
provide them the knowledge, not the excuse.
Yeah. Because like some guys are like, I don't use 2x8. I'm using 2x10. The deck's 6 feet out. Don't care. Using 2x10. That's fine.
Yep.
As long as you let your customers know that that's why you're a little bit more, is because you're building the deck stronger.
Yep.
So that's a pretty big one too here. We got some comments through Instagram here that we better check in on before we turn this off for today. So Forsman's First says the first time he's watched the live podcast. Right on. Thanks for joining. Yep. Mitcon Dex, keep the crew on the job until finished. Don't jump back and forth from one job to another. That one's really important too.
It's good. Yeah. Obviously you have an opportunity, like not an opportunity. Sometimes you have like back orders and the railing post didn't come for the stairs and you have to come back and clean that up on the end. But
but that's a communication thing, right?
Yeah, man. Get people know. Get it to 98% before you leave. Yeah. So,
because what people don't like is like, you're going to take on, especially on the decks are one thing, but like if somebody's doing a kitchen or something and it's like you keep coming and going, it's like you're in their life and this is an 8-day job, but it takes 30 because you showed up one day and you kind of picked away at something and then you went somewhere else and then you kind of came back. Anyway, that drives people nuts. And some people will ask for that up front, right? They'll be like, I don't want coming and going. I want to know that you guys are going to be there till it's done. Yep.
I hated packing tools up so much that that's how I did it because I didn't like leaving.
Yeah, no, I'm going to bring my sleeping bag actually and I'll be here for 4 days.
I work till 10 p.m. So that's just how it is.
Yep. New England, whoopsie, I'm messing that up pretty hardcore. New England Deck Pros says, just started specializing in decks this year. You guys have provided a great amount of info that has really helped hit the ground running. Good. That's good. Awesome.
That's all we want, right?
That's the goal. So I think episodes like this are perfect for him. He chose a good one to sign into.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, all we were trying to do is just make it more information for people, right? It's like everybody does this. Just share the knowledge.
Yeah.
So,
Forsman's Finest again says sell a maintenance plan. So there's certainly that option too.
Absolutely.
Especially if it's a job that requires maintenance like a cedar deck or whatever have you, a hardwood deck.
Yeah.
It's like you can set yourself. The customer will appreciate this, knowing the upfront cost of maintaining it going forward, and you've given them a plan.
Yep.
It's like when you're ready, phone this number. It's going to cost this much to do, and then instead of them coming 2 years down the road, be like, who do I call to get this done now? And they're calling around like, do you do these decks? Sorry, we don't. Yeah. Do you this? How much is it going to be? Oh, it depends on what. Nobody knows the project better than you, and so if you're willing to do that service,
absolutely
do that, or partner with the business for cross promotion.
Yep.
That'll do that in the future. It's like you got a guy you can feed leads to, and he's like, absolutely, I'll do a 10% discount if I know you're going to just feed jobs for me and I don't have to go find them.
I'm the guy that oils decks and fences, and every time that happens, like you build one and then you're just like, here, call this guy. He gives you an immediate 10% off labor if it comes to me. It's like that and guy's we've talked labor.
About doing that for our guys that do a lot of fences. We've talked about that.
I love it.
We talked about like, hey, maybe you give your contractors an offer they can pass along to their customer that then comes back to you.
Yeah, discount for
like
products.
That's how we kind of view our relationships with our contractors as more partners like than customer and dealer per se. It's like we want them to succeed and we all want the customer to be happy, and I care about your customer even though I'm never going to meet them.
Correct.
Like let's win this together. I want you to be successful too.
Yep.
And finally, Forsman's Finest again, communication, respect, and follow through. Yep, pretty big pillars right there. Have respect for your customer. Have empathy for your customer. Understand their situation during this as well. Communication is gigantic, like we said. And following through on what you say you're going to do.
Yep.
Seems easy, can be tough at times, but very important to do.
Yep.
That is all for this week, folks. If you have any topic ideas, we tried to get Jason Varney on today. we talked to him last week shortly in the podcast and said, let's do the podcast next week. And he was game today. However, he was out on the lake boating. He sent me a picture. He's like, yeah, we can do the podcast anytime. Bloop. Son's like surfing behind the boat and his other son's back there. I was like, dude, we can do this another day. I don't expect you to be calling in from the lake. Go enjoy your day. So we'll try to get him on next one. New England Deck Pros now says next episode should be on how to find pressure treated lumber. Dude, if we had an answer to that, I would let you know. I feel like we're not in the worst situation.
We're pretty close.
It's not good.
Yeah,
we're running on like very little inventory right now of lumber. The stuff coming in is not coming in fast enough.
The low fuel light is on right now.
Absolutely, it is, and we're trying to make it to the next stop. But I saw some pictures in some of these Facebook groups of guys, like somebody, I can't remember who it was, took a picture of Lowe's down the state somewhere, and it was like the lumber aisle, empty, ghost town, not a single stick.
Even the crooked ones were gone?
The crooked ones were gone. Yikes. There wasn't a single stick on the shelf. It was just the whole aisle was empty.
That'd be scary.
Holy man. There was another guy who posted a picture. He had a job lot of lumber, like, whatever, 80 boards bundled together in his garage. He's like, I spent, whatever he said, 2 weeks and 8 stops over and over again to put together this package for my own house because I wanted to build my deck. He was going from Lowe's to Home Depot to local lumberyard to Lowe's to Home Depot to local lumberyard every few days, checking, grabbing. We don't want that. Grabbing the whatever sticks that he could find. Go back to Home Depot. There's 3 sticks. He'd buy them, put it in his package.
Wow.
Go to Lowe's, buy them. Go back to Home Depot later to see if they got anything in. Grab the few more sticks off the thing, and he had this bundle. It was like all different brands of lumber.
Oh man, that'd be so frustrating.
Not fun, but that's what it's come to in this crazy world. Concrete too. Somebody posted a picture of the concrete aisle at Lowe's or something, and it was just like empty pallets and like a broken bag in the floor.
Because everybody's doing fences, right?
It's wild.
It is wild.
We're in a unique situation. I don't know how to find pressure treated lumber, but I'll let you know if we're
trying
that out.
Yeah.
So, anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's been another great episode of the Ultimate Deck Podcast. We will see you next week.
You've been listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Ultimate Deck Podcast. Brought to you by the Ultimate Deck Shop. Shop with us at www.ultimatedeckshop.com or check us out at all the social networks we can keep up with. Hit us up for any collaboration or sponsorship opportunities. Thanks for listening.